welcome to Still Up with 6, where the conversation continues on all social media platforms. You just saw my co-anchor and partner in crime, Chris Rogers. He was sitting next to me in that pre-recorded video, but right now he is sitting at home because we're practicing our social distancing. Hey there, Chris.
Hey there, good morning to you, Heidi. Yeah, we are, getting used to this new normal, as so many of you are across our viewing area. I'm just getting up to speed here on our live stream, but we have got a lot to get to this morning. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of different questions. Possibly some of you who are normal viewers of Texas Today now just waking up a little bit later because you don't have to be at work physically right now. So, Heidi, let's do a quick rundown of the latest numbers right now.
Well, since we last checked in with everyone here on social media yesterday, here are the latest numbers right now. They're on your screen. I'll read them out. 20 positive cases in McLennan County, 16 in Bell, 12 in Brazos, and 2 cases in Milam County. Also, Limestone Falls and Robertson County each reporting 1 case. So that's also changed. We've seen an increase in number of cases here in Central Texas, but also since the last time we got to check in with everyone here on social media, shelter-in-place orders have been put in for both Bell and McLennan counties.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people have been messaging us, my social media platforms, asking exactly what that means. It means you should only go out if you need food, medicine, or gas. If you can, of course, work from home, but they are really urging you, and so are we here on Texas Today, to only go out if you need the essentials. And if you can, any get-togethers with people who aren't part of the same household, obviously a no-go there. The only way you should be seeing friends or extended family is on a screen via FaceTime, via Skype, however you want to do it. However you can make sure that you're staying at home, we urge you to do this so we can get through this together.
Yeah, and we do want to remind everyone, when a shelter in place has been ordered by a local official or even a state official or a nation official, it is important to note that businesses that you'd want to go to that are not essential are going to be closed. So really, there is no point in leaving the house unless you really do need food, medicine, or gas. And you can be outside, though. We do want to note, for kiddos at home who are inside kind of feeling bored, you can go out for a walk, you can ride your bike, you can go to the park, but remember, you have to practice social distancing, and that's 6 feet or further apart.
Yeah, and so Jenny is saying, thank you guys for keeping us informed. This virus stays on metal. So what about shoppers at the HEB touching carts? Jenny, that's a really good question. Of course, you can't not go to the grocery store if you need some of those essential items. I believe some HEB locations are giving out wipes. Wiping down those carts is absolutely important. If you don't have access to a wipe, if you don't have access to hand sanitizer right away, here's the important thing. Yes, it can live on metal for quite a period of time. So what you need to be doing is getting your shopping done, getting home, and before you ever touch your face or even have your hands near your face, you want to make sure you thoroughly wash your hands, because that's a very good point there, Jenny.
And to that point, I do want to say, if you've been to an HEB locally, a lot of them are limiting how many people can be inside at a time. So you have to get into a line, and when you're in that line, they actually hand you a wipe out the door. So if you don't have one, HEB, most locations are providing that wipe in order for you to wipe down the cart before you touch it, and of course, or the basket, whatever you prefer, but they are giving out wipes. So that is something that HEB is doing to help keep everyone safe as they do their shopping.
Yeah, absolutely. And Travis saying, fishing. What are the rules with fishing? Hey, Travis, it's a good idea. You want to get out and about right now. We encourage you, if you're not part of the same household, possibly just go fishing by yourself. Because I'm not quite sure. I know that some local parks are completely shut down. So whether you have access directly to the lake from your home, that would be the best option. And Lauren's saying, what are the rules on Uber or Lyft drivers? I believe those are still operational right now for people who don't have a means of getting to places they need to go themselves. I'm sure a lot of these Uber and Lyft drivers are now turning to delivery options as well. So if you're an Uber or Lyft driver and you're not getting as much business, it could be an important thing to do to look into DoorDash and Waiter and some of these other delivery options that are really seeing an uptick.
That's a good point there, and a good question, too. I think a lot of people do use Uber and Lyft here, and I think that that's a really good question. Let's see. Bill says he's taking his pup to the park today for a good walk. Just have to stay away from other people. Yeah, that's something you can do to stay entertained, and of course, keep your dog healthy and active. I'm sure a lot of dogs want to be outside right now, so you can do that. Just make sure you're not near anybody.
Yeah, Tanisha asking, is the post office still open or functioning? I do believe that is considered an essential service, Tanisha, so I believe that that will be functioning as normal, and people still need to get their mail. So that should be focused as normal. A lot of people have asked questions about the danger of potentially getting infected from mail, from packages that are coming in. Right now, we can tell you the CDC says the risk of contracting the virus via mail is very, very low. So is low getting the virus from your groceries, but that still doesn't mean you shouldn't practice those hygiene practices that we've been reminding you to do. It's still better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and you know, for people who are asking about their groceries, I see this from Shasta saying, what about the groceries that people are touching in store? Of course, we see a lot of people pick things up and put them back. So when you go to the store, try to remember, first off, there is hand sanitizer at a lot of stores right now that they're offering you as you walk in for that exact reason. But just think, do I need to touch this? Only touch it if you're certain you're going to buy it. That's another thing we can practice to make sure germs are not being spread. Or you can also bring it home, wash your produce before putting it away, and wash your hands as well. And then you can also unpackage a lot of the meats that you're buying and put them in your own bags before you freeze them or put them in your fridge.
Ava said, I placed an Amazon order and realized its place of origin was China. What should I do with it when it comes to the mail to my house? Okay, Ava, really good question. We actually looked into this for our Verify segment. Here's the deal. The CDC tells us that this virus can live on mail potentially for up to 4 days, and the majority of the time, the vast majority of the time, the mail that's coming in from China takes much longer than that to get here. So all the likelihood, the majority of those packages come in 5-7 days later, so that virus will have died by the time it reaches your home.
It really is a good question, though. We're also getting some other questions. Is Home Depot open? What about Lowe's? What about a body shop? So those are all yeses so far. Let's see. What about travel coming in and out of state if we are already out of town? That is a good question coming in from Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty, here's what we're being told about that. If you can get home, you are encouraged to get home, of course, wherever you're staying, whether that be at a relative's house or maybe possibly a hotel, wherever that may be. Try to get home. So if you're already out of town right now, I think the best bet, if you can drive, definitely try to drive. Travel right now on the airplanes is a big way this thing is spreading back and forth. So that's what I would say to you, is just try to get home as soon as possible.
Dust is saying, be safe out there, everyone. If you still need to go to work like I do, take extra precautions. God bless us all. Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing here when I have to come to the actual station. I know, Chris, you're not dealing with that because you're able to work from home. A lot of people have asked, why am I not working from home as well? And the real answer is technology. We need somebody in-house just in case Chris, his equipment fails or Zach's equipment fails or we lose signal for whatever reason. There's going to be someone always in-house to make sure that you guys are staying informed and are getting the latest information on the coronavirus.
Yeah, it's important that we continue to go on air as for how we decided who goes home. Zach and I have houses, so there's more space for a studio set up here. And, of course, Heidi probably is the most hygienic of all the three of us, so she'll be staying safe and making sure to sanitize and wash her hands multiple times throughout the day.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I actually am ready to wash my hands right after we get off. Still up with 6. It's been a couple hours. Let's see, what else? Any other questions, guys? Drop in some questions. You guys are asking good questions. It's important to spread the truth and information that people could use and benefit from. And speaking of that, Chris, your Verify today is an important one, another coronavirus-related one. Can you tell people about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big question today was, is the census going to be delayed or is it going to be canceled? Well, according to the Constitution, that can't happen. The good news is that there is, for the first time ever, you can fill out the census online. So that will be very helpful, certainly right now when you don't want people out and about canvassing. The canvassing has been delayed to April 1st, so we'll have to wait and see if they eventually start. May 28th is when typically there's a widespread effort to get out and canvass. So the census will not be canceled. It will not be delayed. It can't. It goes against the Constitution. So what we would encourage you to do is get online and fill it out online. It's much easier, and that way you can get your numbers in, and we can still have that information, but you don't have to be out and about amongst people.
Ruth is saying, is there a curfew right now? There's not a curfew in place. I know other cities in Texas like Brownsville issued a curfew a couple of days ago. Brenda saying, is it true masks are not the best to have? I hear mixed things about masks. And Chris, you did a verify about this.
Yeah, so Brenda, here's what we can tell you about masks. If you don't have an N95 mask, it's really not going to do a whole lot. If you just have kind of a regular mask, it's not going to do a whole lot. What we are telling people is that if you're not an infected person, if you're healthy, don't use a mask, because what's going to happen is you're going to be adjusting it, your hands are going to be by your face. Now, for the people that have N95 masks, perhaps painter's masks, those really industrial high-level masks, and you don't need it, what we would encourage you to do is find a way to get that to your local hospital. We're seeing a real shortage of those masks, and those people on the front lines in our healthcare system need those desperately right now.
That's a good point. And then Marcelo says, what about upcoming court dates? So as far as we know right now, all court dates are going to be postponed and rescheduled. So expect to hear from a local official about when that new date will be, whether you get a letter in the mail or get contacted via phone. But those will be postponed until the foreseeable future.
Yeah, Ronisha says, what about people who still have to work? I work in Austin, live in Killeen. Of course, you're not going to be penalized if you're traveling to work. That is considered an essential part of what you're doing. It's one of those things like groceries. It's one of those things like gasoline. If you have to travel to work, if you're being required to work on site, that it will still be allowed. You won't get in trouble. You won't get fined, and you won't get in trouble with the law.
Okay, construction workers. That's a good question coming in from Victor. Chris, do you happen to know the answer to that? Because I don't.
I think right now that's on a case-by-case basis. I would imagine that most construction companies right now are suspending their work, but whether or not that's true would have to be verified by the construction companies themselves, but I'm pretty sure it's a case-by-case basis. I would have to do some more research into that to get answers for you, and I will get back to you there, Victor. Ryan asking, are fines enforced for breaking county shelter-place orders? So this is going to be one of those situations where if it's reported, it's on a report-based system, so if you are reported for breaking those types of shelter-in-place orders, you will potentially be fined. It is considered I believe, how do you think we talked about it? It's a Class C misdemeanor, I believe, if you are breaking these orders. Now, right now we're kind of in a gray area. We don't understand, we haven't had this happen before, so we'll have to kind of navigate that as we go.
Keith is saying, we have heard about what we can't do. What about what we can do? So what you can do, you can go shopping at a grocery store, or if you need to get medicine, or if you need to get gas for your car, you can go outside, you can take a walk. Just remember to practice social distancing with any outdoor activities. So that's what you can do when a shelter-in-place order has been put into effect.
Okay, so Terry Lewis says, no, my hubby is still working. He is in construction. Okay, so that's some interesting perspective there. Can we go to the bank? Heidi, I know that you visited the bank recently. I'm not sure. I assume that if you are going to the bank, it would be drive-through only, whether that be through the ATM or through the service teller, but I would have to do more look into that. And of course, we've got a full list of the places you can and can't go on our website, KCENTV.com.
Now, banks, if I remember correctly, they are considered essential, so they are open, but I would call your local branch, make sure that they're still operating, and also just be sure to be up to date on the hours. I know Chase Bank has changed their hours for when you can do the drive-up banking, so just be sure to call them if you need to go to the bank.
Yeah, Roxanne says, if I have an appointment, can I go? Now, Roxanne, if you're talking about a doctor's appointment, here's what we would say, and here's what health experts are saying and leaders within our community. If it's not absolutely necessary that you have that appointment, that you follow through with that appointment, you're being asked to cancel it. Of course, our healthcare system workers right now are pretty overwhelmed and very, very busy. So if you don't necessarily need that appointment right now, then go ahead and cancel that. Of course, if it's something that is very imperative to go to for your health, you can still go to get for that appointment. And I believe if that's what you're referring to in terms of an appointment.
Yeah, and I actually had an appointment at Baylor Scott & White. I got a phone call last week asking me if it's essential for me to go to my appointment or if it's something that can be talked about over the phone. And they are trying to cancel and get the least amount of people at the hospital at the same time. So that's something that they're doing at Baylor Scott & White. So I would just double check before you head out to your appointment and see if it's even still available for you.
And real quickly before we go, I want to answer a couple questions I'm seeing in the comment. BJ and Denise, who works for Chick-fil-A, asking if they're going to get in trouble for taking orders. I don't think you're going to get in trouble, BJ. What I would encourage you to do is stand back from the vehicle, of course. Practice that social distancing. Stay 6 feet away. You can still communicate with someone from 6 feet. So that's what I would tell you there. And can you still walk the trail at Kamer Park with family, Jennifer? I know you can still be out in nature. You can still go on some of the walking trails. Whether or not certain parks are closed or not remains to be seen.
We want to thank everyone who joined us this morning. So many great questions. And if you have a question you want verified, there's all the information on how you guys can contact Chris. But we're going to have to wrap it up on this Tuesday morning. Chris, we'll see you tomorrow.